Hey there, money-savvy friends! Let's talk about something that can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. Budgeting. I know, budgeting doesn't exactly sound like the most thrilling topic, but stick with me, because today we're gonna make it fun. Picture this. You're cruising along, thinking you've got your finances under control, but then, bam! You hit a budgeting pothole. It happens to the best of us. Whether it's letting a few extra coffees slip by unnoticed, or setting a budget so tight that even a yoga master couldn't squeeze into it, we've all made some classic budgeting blunders. But don't worry, in this video, we're going to dive into the most common mistakes people make, and more importantly, how you can dodge them like a pro. Let's turn those budgeting blues into wins. Mistake #1, not tracking every penny. Let's face it, tracking every single penny can feel like a chore, but it's one of the biggest game changers when it comes to mastering your budget. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to fill a bucket with water, but there's a tiny hole at the bottom. It's small, so you figure, no big deal. But over time, that little leak starts to drain more water than you expected. And suddenly, your bucket isn't as full as you thought. That's what happens when you ignore those small expenses. We're talking about the little things that slip through the cracks. A quick snack here, an impulse buy there, that random app subscription you forgot about. These seemingly harmless expenses can add up faster than you realize. And before you know it, they're sabotaging your budget. But here's the good news. You don't have to let those sneaky expenses win. Start by tracking every penny, even the small stuff. There are tons of apps out there that make it easy and even kind of fun. The more you know where your money is going, the more in control you'll be. And trust me, your future self will thank you. Mistake #2, setting unrealistic budgets. We've all been there, motivated to save every dollar and determined to stick to a super tight budget. But here's the thing, setting a budget that's too restrictive is like trying to survive on a diet of lettuce and water. Sure, it sounds good in theory, but in reality, it's a recipe for burnout. When your budget doesn't allow for any breathing room, you're more likely to give up and splurge out of frustration. The result? You end up spending more than if you just set a realistic budget in the first place. Instead of trying to cut out every non-essential expense, focus on creating a budget that's both challenging and achievable. Leave some space for small indulgences and unexpected costs. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. A sustainable budget is one you can actually stick to without feeling deprived. Mistake #3, ignoring emergency funds. Imagine you're walking down the street on a sunny day, feeling great. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the sky opens up and it starts pouring. Without an umbrella, you're soaked in seconds. That's exactly what it feels like when an unexpected expense hits and you don't have an emergency fund. Life is full of surprises, and not all of them are good ones. Whether it's a car repair, medical bill, or a sudden job loss, having an emergency fund is like carrying that umbrella. It protects you from getting drenched by financial storms. Many people skip building an emergency fund because they think they won't need it, or because it seems like a slow process. But even setting aside a small amount each month can create a safety net that saves your budget from unraveling when the unexpected happens. Don't wait for a rainy day. Start building your emergency fund now. Mistake #4, forgetting to budget for fun. Let's be real. Nobody wants to live a life of all work and no play. Yet, one of the biggest mistakes people make when budgeting is forgetting to include fun. If your budget is all about bills and savings with no room for enjoyment, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's like going on a strict diet without allowing yourself a single treat. Eventually, you're going to break. Budgeting for fun isn't just about keeping yourself happy, it's about making your budget sustainable. Whether it's a night out with friends, a new gadget, or a weekend getaway, planning for these expenses keeps you from feeling deprived and helps you avoid those guilt-ridden splurges. So go ahead, treat yourself. Just make sure it's part of the plan. A balanced budget is one that lets you enjoy life while still staying on track with your financial goals. Mistake #5, underestimating variable expenses. We all love a good routine, but not everything in life is predictable. especially when it comes to expenses. One common budgeting mistake is underestimating variable costs, like utilities, groceries, or gas. These are not fixed amounts. These amounts can go up every month, sometimes catching you off guard. If you're not prepared for these changes, a higher than usual electric bill or an unexpected spike in gas prices can throw your whole budget off balance. It's like planning a road trip without factoring in the possibility of detours. You might not reach your destination as smoothly as you hoped. The key is to build some flexibility into your budget. Estimate on the higher side for these variable expenses, or better yet, create a buffer. That way, when life throws a curveball, your budget can handle it without a hitch. A little preparation goes a long way. Mistake hash 6, not adjusting the budget regularly. Life is always changing, and so should your budget. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is setting a budget and then forgetting about it. Maybe you got a raise, your rent increased, or your spending habits shifted. If your budget doesn't evolve with you, it quickly becomes outdated and ineffective, like trying to navigate with an old map. Think of your budget as a living document that needs regular checkups. By reviewing and adjusting it every month, you can ensure it's still aligned with your current financial situation and goals. It's also a great way to spot trends, like areas where you're consistently overspending or underspending, so you can make smarter decisions going forward. Give it the attention it deserves, and you'll find that it can be a powerful tool for keeping your finances on track. Mistake hash 7, not having financial goals. Budgeting without a clear goal is like driving without a destination. You're moving, but where are you really going? One of the biggest mistakes people make is not tying their budget to specific financial goals. Whether it's saving for a dream vacation, paying off debt, or building a nest egg, having goals gives your budget purpose and direction. Without goals, it's easy to lose motivation and fall back into bad spending habits. On the other hand, when you know what you're working towards, every dollar you save or spend becomes part of a bigger plan. It transforms budgeting from a boring task into a powerful tool that helps you achieve what truly matters to you. So, take some time to set clear, achievable financial goals. Whether they're short-term or long-term, having these targets in place will keep you focused and make budgeting a whole lot more rewarding. And there you have it, 7 common budgeting mistakes that can easily throw your finances off track, and more importantly, how to avoid them. Remember, budgeting isn't about depriving yourself or sticking to a rigid plan. It's about creating a flexible roadmap that helps you reach your financial goals while still enjoying life along the way. By tracking every penny, setting realistic budgets, preparing for emergencies, and making room for fun, you're setting yourself up for success. Don't forget, your budget should evolve with you. Regular check-ins and adjustments will keep it relevant and effective.